好。
短期也是看不出来的。
17000我买了一个铁丝头，
假的听声音啊！
但是这个确定是假的哦。
真的声音啊！
等一下哈。
这里面就是铁吗？
There's something really nasty hidden inside of the gold bars in China. And it's a terrible tragedy for the victims, but it's a terrible tragedy for the entire country at this point. It's called .999 gold, or as you may know it, 24 karat gold. The Chinese government is buying up all of the gold, and that has caused people to follow suit. And in their mad rush, it leaves them victim to horrific scamming rings at an industrial level, making gold-covered bars of lead, iron, alloy, and all kinds of other fake metals that, when found, devastate the victims as their entire life savings could be wiped out. The internet's becoming a scarier and scarier place to be. And that's why it's really, really important that you protect your internet connection. And the best way to do that is with a VPN. And the VPN that I love to use is Surfshark VPN. What Surfshark VPN does is it creates a secure tunnel that blocks what you're doing online from prying eyes around so that people cannot see what you're doing online. Also, it's really cool and super easy to use because you can hop around to different servers and actually get different prices on different things. You can go change to a server in Japan or in Italy or somewhere else in America, and you can actually find different deals around the internet, whether you're trying to book a hotel or rent a car or whatever you're trying to do. Also, hopping around a VPN not only keeps you safe, but it gives you access to different streaming libraries. So if you're on Netflix and a certain show is not available anymore, all you have to do is hop around to a different server and then go see if that country has that show available for you. It's really, really awesome. Go to surfshark.deals/Lawai86 and get up to 3 additional months for free. That's surfshark.deals/Lawai86 and use the code Lawai86 to protect your online privacy today. Here's the deal. China's economy is not healthy, but the government cannot and will not tell people that. In fact, they have banned it and made it illegal to talk about the economic woes in China right now, threatening people that post anything about it online. But that doesn't stop people from reading in between the lines. People in China are not stupid. You see, the government in China isn't going to tell its citizens that it's currently in panic mode, stashing gold like a paranoid leprechaun. But everyone knows someone who works in the government in China. There's tens of millions of Communist Party members there. So of course, somebody's aunts or uncle is gonna know what the government's been doing. Of course, it's gonna leak out to the public that the central bank just bought and stashed 3,750 pounds of gold in just April. Well, what are the people gonna do in response to this? Well, they're gonna panic, right? Of course, they're gonna go out and buy all the gold too. Because of the lack of transparency in the government, people don't know how, why, or what to do with the gold when they buy it, which leaves a wide open door for criminals, some of them even in the banks and the government themselves. Now, thousands and thousands of people are scrambling to the internet and gold experts that are literally sat on the side of the road to try to ascertain if their gold is real or not. People are doing flame tests, as gold is supposed to be soft, it actually melts quite easily. But this rash of fake gold usually turns green or other colors when heat is applied. But some of the more sophisticated gold, the fake stuff, craziest thing is that when this fake gold returns back to its normal temperature, the gold color also returns as well. People are lining up to pay experts to snip their gold with garden tools and pliers because of the soft nature of the gold. It actually should snip quite easily. But people are finding that a lot of their gold bars are rock solid. That is exactly not what you want to find out. People are rushing to make videos about the sound differences in gold. The real sound of a gold bar hitting the ground versus a fake gold bar hitting the ground.
假的听声音啊，真的声音啊。
People have made makeshift labs in the back of their cars to go to parking lots and random places to charge people to see if their gold is real. Many using methods that they have just, in fact, learned online.
听着声有点像铜。
这个绝对是真的。
我给你拉一下试试，假的嘛， 看见没有？狼人之物都变色了。
This panic, this reaction is all happening because the Chinese government was pushing for this irresponsible farce called de-dollarization, which was an effort to get developing countries to stop trading in the US dollar so that they would fall in line with China's goals instead. Well, when you bet against the US, oftentimes, as history tells us, it doesn't work out. And now the dollar is so strong that the Chinese government is freaking out and trying to protect against imminent economic disaster. China's rash aggression towards the USA as well is ended up making the dollar so strong that they have no other option than to buy the entire world supply of gold. That's all that's left. Also, they're trying to protect against sanctions. US sanctions against adversarial governments' bad behavior have been enormously successful, and they want to protect against that. It has become apparent that in some cases, nations that are not allied with the United States have begun to look to reduce their reserve mix away from dollars as they perceive the risk of keeping these reserves vulnerable to sanctions, JP Morgan analysts wrote in a March report. It is estimated that over 4% of China's gold reserves are fake. But that's not the gold that the government is hoarding. That's the gold that ends up trickling down and in the hands of corrupt bank officials and then passed down to the consumer in China. People that are already struggling with ways to save their money. The Chinese yuan, the currency of China, will not stop tanking. It is down against the dollar 12% since 2022. It's literally in free fall right now, and people are left with very little in the way of safe investment. With the economy tanking in China and the government constantly trying to stop capital outflow, money leaving the country, in China putting massive restrictions on investment abroad, as well as outlets like cryptocurrency and other common options for people around the world that want to do stuff with their money, people are pretty much left with three options, and here they are. Number one is to invest in the Chinese stock market, which is so rife with insider trading and corruption that you have to know the right people to be successful. And even then, the economy is tanking, so good luck. Number two is buy gold, which in the land of spraying pigs black to earn more money on pork, because black pigs are worth more money in China, in the land of planting stones on metal rods in the countryside to fool government officials that are doing flybys of agricultural areas so that they can get government subsidies, and also the land of spraying the mountains green to make it look like their eco projects are working to the rest of the world. You cannot guarantee that the gold is real. In fact, the Chinese internet is telling me right now that this is a massive problem with tens of thousands of videos that I'm seeing about people getting fake gold and how to find out if it's fake. Or if you're in China, your third investment option is buy a ghost house. There are 1 billion extra homes in China right now, and the 600 million poor people in the country cannot afford to buy them because they're so expensive. Not to mention, horribly built. The Chinese government and investors have teamed up and made a housing bubble of hydrogen blimp proportions so ridiculously large that it would make the 2008 financial crisis in the USA look like the size of a bubble on some latte foam. This has created entire swaths of the country covered in millions of empty and horrible quality properties, sitting empty and rotting away, and in fact sometimes falling down. I saw them with my own eyes, and I touched them with my own hands, and let me tell you, when the People's Liberation Army in China is stationed in these ghost towns and then chases you out because it's so embarrassing to the country, then you know it's pretty bad. This fake gold epidemic is nothing new to China, though. It happens over and over and over again. But in a country with the lowest press freedom in the world, people don't know what to do. Look what happened when Japan released some controlled tritium into the water. The Chinese government stoked so much nationalism and hatred for the Japanese that people in China were afraid to buy seafood and were scamming each other for hundreds of dollars per pound of salt because they thought that they could never have it again because of radiation contamination. Meanwhile, China releases hundreds of times more radiation into its own coastal waters and is one of the most polluted countries in the entire world. This lack of transparency and hiding everything has created disaster after disaster for China, and it won't stop until two things happen. Number one, China stops being a lying, corrupt dictatorship that stops trampling on its citizens. Or number two, China stops this incessant hatred of the US and the West in general because it's literally not paying off. If you enjoyed this video, you're gonna love what I do on Friday with Serpent Zede. We have something called The China Show. The China Show is where we cover all the hot news coming out of China, all the current events, what's hot, what's viral, what's good, what's bad, everything in between. It's very fun. It's an awesome show, and it's one of the only places you need to be if you want to stay on top of what's happening in China. So go check it out. Thanks.